Hi everyone. Tonight, we let the currents of time carry us backward, and you awaken to a brittle American morning in the early 1800s. The air is sharp enough to bite, yet it holds the distant promise of warmth from a nearby hearth. Feathery frost clings to the window panes like a map of tiny, frozen rivers. A slow, gray plume of chimney smoke unwinds itself into the dawn, and you can almost hear the low, hungry murmur of a fire being fed. You stretch your hands toward that imagined heat, already sinking into the atmosphere of a world where Thanksgiving is a feeling, a harvest breath, not yet the national holiday you recognize. Before you wander too far into this hushed morning, a quick reality check. If you actually found yourself in 1805 in your modern sleepwear, you would last mere moments. The cold is a physical presence, the floors are icy, the blankets are dense, and insulation is a hopeful theory, not a practice. Still, you lean into the cozy daydream of being here, letting your mind stretch out into a slower, more deliberate century. So, before you get settled, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if these journeys truly resonate with you. And as always, tell me where you are and what your local time is in the comments. Now, let the light grow soft. You step forward into the amber glow of an early American Thanksgiving. You feel the solid, slightly uneven planks of a wide pine floor beneath your bare feet, each board holding the cold of the night. Outside, a rooster announces the day with a ragged cry, far too early for your modern sensibilities. A single blade of sunlight cuts across the floor, illuminating dust motes drifting in a lazy, silent dance. The household is just beginning to stir, and you can feel a special weight to this day, a different rhythm in the very air. People in the early 1800s celebrated Thanksgiving in a patchwork of ways, and you are about to witness the holiday while it was still a local custom, not a national decree. A simple historical fact settles in your mind as you breathe in the scent of chilled wood and old quilts. Thanksgiving was not a precedentially declared event at this point. It was a regional tradition, strongest in New England and sporadic elsewhere. This day is shaped by community memory, not federal law, and you feel that freedom as you move. You pull a heavy, homespun shawl around your shoulders and step outside. The temperature nips at you the way a mother cat might gently correct her kittens. Smoke from neighboring chimneys braids together in the still air, carrying the scent of burning oak and the deep, sweet decay of fallen leaves. A hound dog trots past, its tail wagging in a slow, dreamy metronome. The holiday spirit here is quiet, nothing like the fanfare, you know. Instead, the day begins with necessary labor. Always labor, always something to fetch, milk, chop, mend, or carry. You are part of a world where ease is a reward, not a right. You glance toward the small barn where the cows exhale plumes of steam into the crystalline air. A quirky historical snippet emerges. Some households treated the morning as a time for a secret. Silent exchange with neighbors, leaving small handcrafted items, a whittled toy, a cluster of nuts on a familiar fence post or under a specific tree. You imagine someone slipping through the half-light to leave a small pottery cup, a quiet wish for goodwill found later with a smile. Behind these gentle details, you also sense that scholars still ponder the true heart of the holiday's early character. Historians still debate whether the Thanksgiving of the 1800s was primarily a solemn day of religious thanks or a joyful, social feast. You feel both threads in the air, a quiet reverence in the way the Bible is placed on the table, mixed with a palpable eagerness for food, stories, and warmth. You walk a little farther along a dirt path, the frozen earth firm beneath your shoes. The sky pales from a soft gray to a gentle, buttery yellow as the sun climbs. The houses stand comfortably apart, each one an island in a sea of fields and woodland. When you inhale, you catch the complex perfume of wood smoke, tilled earth, and something sweet, perhaps molasses drifting from a kitchen. Your breath clouds before you. A man in a patched wool coat raises a hand in a slow, steady greeting. He moves with a deliberate pace, not from slowness, but because haste is wasteful in the cold. You return the gesture, noticing the careful darning on his elbow. Clothing is valuable, hand-spun, and mended until it becomes a tapestry of its own history. A horse-drawn sled passes, its runners whispering over the frozen ground. The horse flicks an ear toward you, as if assessing your familiarity with this century. You can't blame it. You are clearly a visitor here. As you return inside, the warmth of the main room meets your face like a blessing. A fire chuckles steadily in the hearth, casting a dancing light. A black iron kettle swings gently on its crane, hissing as the water within begins to simmer. Someone has already begun preparing a simple breakfast, perhaps porridge or bread toasted on a fork over the flames. You smell the humble, comforting scent of grain and warmth. In this era, the day's celebration isn't about floats or televised events. It is a carefully built haven of sensory comforts. You watch a woman sweep the hearth with long, graceful strokes, releasing the scent of birch twigs and ash. She hums a tune that is half remembered, half invented. Thanksgiving in the 1800s is built from rituals like this, repeated year upon year until they feel like natural law. Children whisper in the next room, their voices threaded with excitement and conspiracy. You edge closer and hear them speculating on whether there will be extra honey for the bread, or if Grandpa will tell the story about the time the pig got into the cornmeal. Their simple joy takes the hard edge off the world outside. You let your fingers trace the grain of a heavy wooden table. The wood is smooth and cool, shaped by years of use. A single tallow candle stands ready for later, its wick slightly crooked. Beside it rests a slip of paper with a few lines of poetry copied in a careful, schooled hand, a grace to be read later. You step to the window and look out, where a breeze stirs the last tenacious oak leaves. The world feels ancient, patient, and deeply alive in its stillness. The morning invites you to be present. The day has only just opened, yet you already understand that Thanksgiving in this century is less about grand gestures and more about accumulated moments. The solid thump of the axe, the fragrance of yeast, the murmur of family, the steady pulse of a world that marks gratitude in its own way. You breathe in, letting the smoky, sweet warmth of the room fill your chest. The day stretches before you, full of sounds, scents, small labors, and shared comforts that you will follow, step by step. Never rushed, always observing, you ease deeper into the household, letting the heat from the fireplace sink into your bones. Morning light grows stronger now, painting the room in hues of pale gold and amber. You can hear the soft, purposeful activity that turns an ordinary day into a sacred one. Thanksgiving in the early 1800s begins not with a shout, but with a long, quiet sequence of tasks that anchor the home. You feel yourself moving through these motions, absorbing every texture and scent. The first thing that greets you is the smell of wood smoke. It hangs in the air like a fine mist, weaving through every room. The fire in the hearth is a living thing, snapping occasionally as it consumes the oak logs. A cast-iron crane holds bubbling kettles that sway with the movement of the boiling water inside. You can feel the heat on your skin from several feet away. This hearth is the soul of the home, the kitchen, the heater, the heart. A woman moves nearby, adjusting a log with a long iron poker. The log settles with a soft crunch, releasing a burst of scent that smells of forest and resin. She wipes her hands on her apron and offers you a quiet, knowing glance. In her world, you are simply another set of hands, someone who understands the quiet dignity of domestic work. A mainstream historical fact drifts into your thoughts. In most early American homes, the open hearth was the sole source of heat and the primary tool for cooking, long before enclosed stoves became common. The entire Thanksgiving meal depended on this fire, which demanded constant attention and an intuitive understanding of heat. Tending it was an art form. You watch as she lifts a heavy pot with a sure grip. The iron is cool at the handle but searing near the base where flames lick. She pours hot water into a basin for washing later. A faint sigh of steam rises as the hot liquid meets the cooler metal, and the cloud washes over your face, smelling of minerals and fire. In the corner, a man sorts through a basket of potatoes, brushing off the dark soil. Some are small and knobby, others large and smooth. He examines each one, setting aside the best for roasting, the smaller ones for stew. As he works, he whistles a tune that seems part of the room itself. Your eyes drift to the shelves lining the walls. Jars of dried beans, strings of dried apples, and bundles of sage speak of a life where nothing is wasted. The pantry holds barrels of flour, cornmeal, and salted pork. Each ingredient is waiting for its moment. You run your fingers through a bowl of cornmeal. It is cool and granular, clinging to your skin like fine sand. Near the window, an older woman works at a crate of turnips and parsnips. Their earthy, sweet scent fills the space around her. She scrubs them with a stiff brush, the sound a steady scrape against the wood. Her movements are slow and practiced, a meditation in preparation. You find yourself syncing your breath with her rhythm. A quirky tidbit surfaces. In some regions, people would save the most perfectly shaped vegetables to carve into little lanterns or figures for the children in the days before the holiday. You imagine a potato with a lopsided smile sitting on the mantel, a silent guardian of the kitchen. You step back toward the hearth, drawn by its magnetic warmth. A large pot hangs from a hook, simmering quietly. The woman tending it says softly that it's a broth made from yesterday's bones. The scent rises in waves, salty, herby, profound. This simple liquid is the foundation upon which the feast will be built. Children tumble into the room, their feet a light percussion on the floor. One clutches a cornhusk doll, its face a simple ink smudge. Another carries a basket of walnuts, eager to crack them for the pies. Their breath comes in small puffs, and they chatter with the bright energy that only a special day can bring. As the room buzzes, another question forms in your mind. What exactly defined Thanksgiving at this point? Scholars still puzzle over this, and some historians still argue whether early 1800s families leaned more toward pious reflection or cheerful indulgence. You sense both currents here. A well-worn hymnal rests on a chair, but the laughter and the scent of food speak just as loudly. You move to the table where wooden spoons and bowls are gathered. Knives are sharpened, their edges gleaming. A set of pewter plates waits, cool and heavy to the touch. Beside them is a trivet woven from straw, ready to protect the wood from a hot dish. The straw is smooth and slightly sharp. Someone is stirring a thick batter in a large crockery bowl. You hear the thick, glugging sound of the spoon moving through it. Each movement is a small effort, a reminder that nothing here comes without work. The smell of yeast and warm milk floats toward you, mingling with the deeper notes of smoke and broth. A cat slips in through a slightly open door. It stretches, then curls into a tight circle directly in the warmest spot, as if by divine right. You smile at its certainty. Even the animals understand that this day holds a different kind of comfort. You take a slow, deep breath, feeling the layers of scent settle into your senses. Standing here, you see how central the hearth and its atmosphere were to Thanksgiving. The day flows from this fire, from the steady work of hands that feed flames, knead dough, and create the world of comfort everyone will soon gather within. For now, the work continues, quiet and purposeful. No one rushes. The holiday unfolds at a pace set by the fire, the food, and a gentle, collective expectation. You feel yourself absorbed into that rhythm, moving as the room moves, soaking in the warmth and the quiet industry of a home preparing for gratitude. You step back outside, the cold a fresh shock after the kitchen's glow. Your journey continues down the road to the village market, the packed earth crunching underfoot. The world is waking properly now, and the path grows livelier with wagons creaking under loads of produce and firewood. The air carries the smell of hay, damp canvas, and the faint, precious scent of spices from merchant stalls. A mainstream historical fact settles in. These market trips were social rituals as much as practical necessities. You see it in the way neighbors call out greetings, strangers nod warmly, and news is exchanged along with coins. You pause by a stall where a woman sells herbs tied with string sage, thyme, rosemary. Their sharp, pin-like scents cut through the chill. You run your fingers over a bundle of dried lavender, and it crackles softly, releasing a floral perfume. The merchant winks, telling you it's perfect for the turkey. A quirky tidbit surfaces. Some families believe buying the first pumpkin you touched would bring luck, while others insisted on walking 3 circles around the turkey before selecting it. You imagine someone discreetly performing this ritual now. At the poultry section, the air is full of clucking and fluttering. A plump turkey stares back at you with unblinking, judgmental eyes. Nearby, 2 women debate the merits of goose versus turkey, their lively disagreement a timeless display of culinary pride. You purchase a small bundle of sage and a piece of cured pork, then begin the walk home. The journey itself feels part of the holiday, the effort, the choices, the shared anticipation building the foundation for the feast. Back inside, the kitchen hums with a new intensity. The brick oven glows, its heat hitting your face like a soft wall. This is where the true transformation happens. A woman kneels, coaxing flames under an iron pot. The aroma of onions and herbs rises in savory waves. You watch as dough rises under cloths near the wall, slowly expanding like a living thing. The scent of yeast blends with the deeper notes of smoke and simmering broth. A girl carefully shapes biscuits, her small hands dusty with flour, her concentration fierce. The centerpiece awaits in a cooler room. A turkey, plump and pale, lies beside a sleeker goose. The choice between them is a quiet family debate. The man favors the turkey's impressive size. The woman champions the goose's rich flavor. It's a decision that speaks to taste and tradition. A historical curiosity whispers, some rural families believed a goose's evenly blistered skin predicted a mild winter. You glance at the bird, imagining it holds a secret meteorological message. The choice is made, the turkey will be the star. A bowl of stuffing is brought forth, a fragrant mix of breadcrumbs, onions, celery, and sage. It's packed carefully into the bird, not too tight, not too loose. The skin is rubbed with salt and herbs, ready to crisp to a perfect golden brown. As the turkey is carried toward the glowing oven, you feel the household hold a collective breath. The choice is made, the work is done. The feast is beginning to take its final form. The warmth of the kitchen gives way to the bustling energy of the main room. The table is being set, extended by wooden boards laid across barrels. It's slightly uneven, charmingly imperfect. A long cloth is draped over it, hiding the makeshift joints. Chairs are gathered, a mix of straight-backed, polished ones, and simple, sturdy stools. A low bench is pulled up for the children. A detail from household accounts surfaces. Some families always set an extra place for an unexpected guest, a symbol of open-hearted generosity. You notice an empty chair in the corner, placed with intention. The children are abuzz, caught between trying to help and plotting mischief. A boy darts past, a pilfered cranberry clutched in his hand. He pops it in his mouth and immediately scrunches his face at the tartness, giggling. A pair of siblings in a corner whisper dramatically, planning an impromptu Thanksgiving play with no script and boundless enthusiasm. Then, the sound you've been waiting for, the distant crunch of wagon wheels on the frozen road. The first guests have arrived. The door swings open, letting in a gust of cold air and 2 flushed, smiling faces. They stamp snow from their boots, their cheeks red from the journey. They are led to the fire, their stiff fingers thawing over the flames. Their arrival is a triumph over distance and cold. More guests pour in, each arrival sending a fresh wave of warmth through the house. The room fills with the hum of reunited voices, the sharing of travel stories, and the unwrapping of small handmade gifts, a knitted scarf, a carved wooden bird, a jar of preserved peaches. These tokens hold no great monetary value, but they represent time, care, and connection. As everyone finds their seats, a hush falls. The turkey is carried in, golden and glistening, its aroma filling the room. The carving begins. Plates are passed, steaming with mashed potatoes, roasted root vegetables, and gravy. The cranberry relish shines like a ruby jewel. Conversation softens to a gentle hum as people begin to eat. The room is wrapped in a shared, contented focus. The main course is a slow, savoring ritual, a silent language of gratitude. A lull follows a peaceful, drowsy interlude where people lean back, stretch their legs, and let the meal settle. It's a quiet space for reflection before the pies appear. And appear they do. Apple, pumpkin, and a deep red cranberry pie, their crusts glistening. The scent of cinnamon and sugar weaves through the room. The mood lifts again, warmed by this final, sweet anticipation. As the last pie plates are cleared, the evening deepens. The party drifts toward the parlor where the fire has burned down to a bed of glowing embers. The energy shifts from feasting to reflection. Someone takes out a fiddle. The first notes are slow and searching, sweet and melancholic. A melody wraps around the room like a soft blanket. A woman joins in with a lap harp, its crystalline notes weaving through the fiddle's tune. The music isn't a performance. It's a shared breath, a weaving together of the evening. In the quiet that follows a song, an elder begins to speak. He tells a story from Thanksgiving's long past, of a sudden snowfall that stranded the whole family together. His voice is steady, his humor gentle. Others join in, sharing memories, some tender, some hilarious. A boy tells a wildly exaggerated tale of a racing turkey, making everyone laugh. The storytelling is more than entertainment. It's how history and family identity are passed down, stitch by stitch. The youngest children, stomachs full and weary from excitement, begin to nod off. They are carried to bedrooms, tucked under heavy quilts in rooms shared with cousins. The house begins to settle into its final, quiet rhythm. You step outside one last time. The cold is profound now, the sky a deep black scattered with icy stars. The world is utterly still. The fields rest. The harvest is in. The house behind you glows, a beacon of warmth and life against the sleeping land. You come back inside, the warmth, a familiar embrace. You take a final seat by the hearth, watching the embers pulse like a slow heartbeat. The sounds of the house are soft, now a rustle of quilts, a murmured goodnight, the sigh of the floorboards. The day closes around you, full and complete. From the brittle morning to this deep, grateful night, you have drifted through the layers of an early Thanksgiving. It was not one thing, but many. Labor and rest, scarcity and abundance, silence and song, all woven together into a tapestry of gratitude. You let the warmth and the quiet sink into your bones, and as the last ember flickers, you feel the gentle pull back to your own time, carrying the peace of this slower century with you.